So as you all are familiar, Cori Bush, she lost her seat to Wesley Bell. Wesley Bell was the AIPAC puppet that was able to basically come in and say, okay, I'm going to be the one to get her out of here because she's speaking up for Gaza, right? Well, Wesley Bell was just confronted about his support for AIPAC. I guess he thought that, he was going to get out of this. And it's just really interesting because he said that Cori Bush said in her district, or her district constituents said that she wasn't around, that she was kind of, not here, not there, etc. Well, this time you're going to see that Wesley doesn't want to be around. This time you're going to see that Wesley is the one who is running away and doesn't want to be bothered, and also has the audacity to accuse the people who are questioning him of attacking him. You see, I want to take you back to when he first won against Cori Bush, because I just want to show you, I told you guys before, this is one nerdy clown. He's just a clown. No shade to nerds, but this guy was a straight up clown. Right after he won, I want to show you what he says in this interview. Watch this.
Your critics at any time in this race crossed a line from just scrutinizing outside money campaign finance into racism or anti-Semitism?
There were things that were said that absolutely crossed the line. And, I'm from Missouri. I'm an African-American man, and Missouri's had its issues of racism and things of that nature in our history. And I've
Pause. This is how you know this guy is wiggity wiggity whack. Okay. He just told you that Missouri has had issues of racism in the past, in our history. They have those issues now. They still have those issues today. That's not something that was only in the past. You see how he talks about it? So Wesley Bell from the very beginning, or you can call him Norbit. He kind of looks like Norbit. From the very beginning was a puppet, just another AIPAC puppet, right? Who got the help that he got to win because AIPAC helped him and put out several ads against Cori Bush and basically tried to make it seem like Cori Bush was anti-Semitic. And Wesley Bell, being another Black candidate, went along with it. We have no friends. You get this? We have no friends. He went along with it. He was willing to stab another Black candidate in the back to get this spot. He's a clown.
Never been called anything like some of the things that I was called during the election. That said, I believe this region is a sleeping giant. I believe this region, I think folks in this region are tired of nothing getting done. They're tired of this region that's been dying a slow death, losing population, and we're not doing anything differently. We have to address our public safety and our gun violence. The number one killer of young Black boys in this district is gun violence, and that's not okay with me. And speaking of the Dobbs decision,
I want to ask you about some of those things you mentioned in your speech here in a minute. Let's just wrap this up for a minute. This is our kind of post-mortem of this race. Could you have won this race without support from AIPAC?
I believe we would have won this election regardless. I think.
Okay. If you believe that you would have won the election without the support of AIPAC, why did you take support from AIPAC? If you believe, Wesley, that you would have been able to win without AIPAC, why did you take money from AIPAC? You see, it just, I can't, like, he knows exactly what his job was. They approached him to get rid of her. He knew exactly what he was signing up for. Don't you all think it's kind of strange? This guy just came out of nowhere and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, and I beat Cori, and you ain't never heard of this guy. Ain't nobody heard of Wesley. He just came out of nowhere. And here we are, right? Another paid puppet. He can join the ranks of Cory Booker.
At the end of the day, when I talk to voters, voters heard every message from both candidates. They saw the way we were campaigning, and we were talking about my record and what we wanted to do. And they heard the Congresswoman's divisiveness and her campaign, which was basically about division. And I'll just say this, most folks, they appreciated the fact that we shared, instead of division, a vision for the St.
You guys hear this?
Louis region and moving this region forward.
Guys, look at his face. So let me tell you what he's doing, right? Did you guys realize how he just used like white supremacist talking points? He went forward to tell you that he said Cori Bush was focused on division. The division that he's talking about is that she was out there saying there's a genocide happening in Gaza and what is happening to the Palestinian people is wrong. Wesley Bell calls that division. So let me ask. So in that respect, when Wesley chose to align himself with Israel, is that not division? Is that not also division? By his definition? Do you see this? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I can't believe people fell for this. I would really love to talk to people that live in Wesley Bell's district to ask him, why would you want to vote for this guy? Well, why did you think that this guy would be the one? And he ain't going to do shit either. Okay. One thing you will be able to say about Cori Bush is that she was on the ground with the people in Ferguson. She was on the ground before she was a politician. That's where a lot of us started to know of her from, is that she was there protesting with the people. She was an activist first. I had never heard of this dude until it was announced that he was running against her. So I would really like to hear from people that live in that district to explain to me, what about Wesley Bell made you think that you could trust him? And we know we had our issues with Cori as well, but I don't know why you would have trusted this guy either.
You jumping into this race, though, did force some uncomfortable conversations. This is our first time talking to you since that private phone call was leaked that we published. Yeah. In that call, you did say a couple things like, be really tough to run every 2 years. You promised, you vowed you wouldn't run against her in that phone call. I understand things changed. I want to ask you a different question, though, because.
But you brought it up, though. So
I did bring it up, but I want to ask.
See, this is what people need to hear. When he was originally confronted, he said he was not going to run against her. So what changed? I'll tell you what changed. AIPAC contacted him, and that's what changed. Aku, I live in St. Louis County, Cori Bush District. Let us know what is going on, Aka. Let us know why in the world do people trust Wesley Bell?
This question, because I'm also aware of some older black men in the community who are excited to see you run for the Senate. Some even donated to your Senate campaign. And then they were frustrated when you ran against her instead. And they felt sort of left in the lurch. Both of you and Cori Bush on the nights of the election mentioned some of the tension and the friction left over in the district. How do you speak to those people who might have wanted you in the Senate but voted for her for Congress? Well,
first and foremost, the voters spoke. I'm very proud of the victory. It was a resounding victory in St. Louis County. I think we won every township except maybe 2. Voters wanted a message. They wanted a vision for this region, and that's exactly what we campaigned on. Now, you brought up the phone call. That was that was secretly recorded by the Congresswoman, and
which is legal.
Which is legal, Missouri. But who does that? Let's be honest. Like, do you do that with your friends?
I know
a lot of people have done that. He said, who secretly records conversations? There have been a lot of conversations that have been secretly recorded. Hell, if it wasn't for secretly recorded conversations, we probably would have never heard of Monica Lewinsky, right? If it wasn't for secretly recorded conversations.
Oh, I also don't suspect my friends are trying to take my job.
Well, either way, though, but I know a lot of elected officials who are very reluctant to want to speak to the Congresswoman because they're afraid that they might be recorded. And at the end of the day, at that time, as you know, when that call was made in June, I was running for the Senate, so I was not intending to run for that office, and because voters in my district and around the state and around the country, the calls were coming for me to get into that race because we weren't having effective representation. And so I changed my mind. But at the end of the day, we made our case to voters. We made our case on why we would be the more effective candidate. We made the case on the relationship that we have with community, with criminal justice reform, when we're talking about making this a safer place. And I have those relationships with law enforcement to be able to do that. And when the Dobbs decision came down, my office was on day one announced that we would not be prosecuting those cases. And so I think my positions have been clear for 10 years now as a Ferguson City Councilman, as well as the county prosecutor, and voters agreed with that.
We could start to learn a lot more about the specific contours of your position.
So long story short, he kissed the police department's ass. He kissed AIPAC's ass, and AIPAC told him to run against Cori Bush. It wasn't a coincidence, because here's the thing. He could have ran against her anytime, right? Like, he could have ran against her a couple of years from now. He ran against her after she came out in support of Gaza. He was their secret ticket to get her out. Now, why is this important? Because this guy, you can't tell me you don't look at this guy and can't tell this guy is bought and paid for. He was confronted recently. Shout out to Jimmy J. Congressman Wesley Bell was pressed on the millions he took from AIPAC. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to say this. You took that money, face the music. This is how I feel. If you took that money, face the music. Don't try to run away when people ask you why you took that money. You decided that you wanted to align yourself with AIPAC. You should have to speak on that. Don't run away. Man up. Stand on business. This is how I say about it. Like, for all the politicians that are taking corporate money, stand on business and just don't deny it, because we can look it up on Open Secrets. But stand on business and say, yeah, I took it and here's why. Don't run away. Don't run away. They wanted Wesley Bell in. They wanted this guy there because he would be a puppet for Israel. Watch this.
Your children in Gaza. Are you complicit in genocide?
This is what I'm saying. We need to get the hostages home. We need to get a peace resolution, a lasting peace resolution in that region for all the people in there. Israel.
See, you can see some things have changed, right? Notice some things have changed. The hairdo, he got his twisties a little bit more tighter now. The twists are tight. I can see it. He already getting some of the changes. So this is the script that they are all given, right? When they're asked about Gaza, we got to get those hostages out. Same thing Kamala said. Same thing Biden said. They all have the same playbook that they're working from. When somebody asks you about Gaza and you take this opportunity to talk about Israel, talk about the hostages, you're also obviously trying to deflect from the conversation at hand. That's just like if I came up to you and I asked you, hey, how was work today? What did you do at work? And you start talking about me and what I did, you're trying to deflect. They all have the same script. And I just can't, Lord Jesus, I cannot believe people really trusted this guy.
We need to get a lasting peace resolution in that region for all the people in there, Israelis.
But what do you say to the people who are starving to death right now?
Well, we want to get aid to them too. We don't want to do all those things. We want to make certain that everyone is safe. Everyone has the things that they
See, looking around for what words to say. We want to make sure everyone's safe and all those people. And notice how Israel's always first and the Palestinian people are always the afterthought. Notice how the first thing they always say is we got to get those hostages out, right? And then it's when you're asked about the Palestinian people starving in Gaza, then it's like, oh yeah, we want to get food to those people too. The sad part about it is when it comes from a black politician, it's even worse. You know why? Because this is the same type of mindset and the same type of phrases that people used to use towards black people in this country. You have black politicians that are talking about Palestinian people as an afterthought, and they are prioritizing European settlers. This is why, and this is something people really need to hear. Because this is why when Dr. West mentioned white supremacy, this is part of what he was talking about. You have black politicians that are upholding white supremacy because they are prioritizing European settlers and putting Palestinian people as an afterthought. They don't even mention the people who are starving in Gaza unless they're asked about it again. That's a problem. These are the black faces in high places.
Everyone has the things that they need, and we also want to make certain that that the hostages.
Will he stop taking money? Will he stop taking money from AIPAC?
Yelling at me.
Will he stop taking money?
I'm sorry, we got to see it again. He said, stop yelling at me.
As the things that they need, and we also want to make certain that that the hostages.
Will he stop taking money? Will he stop taking money from AIPAC?
Yelling at me.
Stop yelling at me, he says. Guys, this is freaking ridiculous, fam. This is freaking ridiculous. Like, what the? He asked you a question. Will you stop taking the money from AIPAC? Now you get vicious.
Will he stop taking money from AIPAC? Will he stop taking money from AIPAC, which is starving innocent Palestinian children, Congressman? Congressman, will he stop taking money from... Congressman, if you care about Palestinian children, will he stop taking money from AIPAC?
Can you give us some space, please?
Can you please
I'm sorry.
back up, please?
Can you give us some
If you
space?
care about Palestinian children, will he stop taking money from AIPAC?
He and his team also started lying to Capitol Police and claimed that we assaulted him, which you can see in the video. We literally did not, and they tried to get us arrested. I understand that some people are going to watch that video and think that we're being too impolite because we're being so confrontational. But the truth is, if someone is in a position of power and there is something that they can do to stop this level of human suffering and they choose not to, especially for their own self-interest, they do not deserve politeness. Lives are at stake. It is not time to preserve the status quo. It's time to get disruptive.
No, she's correct here. This is not the time to be polite. Like, this is just absolutely ridiculous, right? So once they started asking you about the money that you're taking from AIPAC, then all of a sudden his response is, these people are attacking me. And we know he's friendly with the police. Like, you've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding. These puppets, Cory Booker, Wesley Bell, Raphael Warnock, Hakeem Jeffries, these black faces in high spaces, they make things worse for the rest of us. Because they're the ones that little black kids will look at and say, oh, I could grow up to be like them someday. And we have to be the ones to tell the children, we got to bring it back down to earth. And we have to tell the kids, no, you don't actually want to be like them. And it's okay to tell that to your kids. It's okay to tell them, no, you don't actually want to be like Barack Obama. You don't actually want to be a Wesley Bell. You don't want to be a Hakeem Jeffries. You don't want to be a Cory Booker. These people sold out for money to prioritize, what is it again? European settlers. All of those things that he said about Cori Bush not being around and not being present. Now Wesley's the one who wants to not be present. Now he's the one that wants to run away. And I said it before and I say it again. If you took that money from AIPAC or Kufi or Blue Cross or United Healthcare or whatever, then stand on business and say you took it and say why. But don't take it and run away. Man up. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.